I was like, that
I
doesn't make
remember when I called in because I had a broken toe in Tampa, Florida, and man, I got chewed out so hard. I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson that night. They couldn't believe I called in for a broken toe, and I wrestled barefoot.
Yeah, that's right. We got a couple super chats in here. This is a good one. Gem the Dawn, $5. Thank you. He said, "Bro, thanks for the talk on mental health the other week. You inspired me to reach out and inspired me to get a little help while I'm going through a little rut." So
Awesome. That's fucking great, man. I love hearing those, hearing that makes me feel like I got a purpose for what we're doing here. Thanks for validating us, Gem the Don.
yes, thank you. And that's the thing too. Keep at it, man. Like sometimes that therapist will be, if you're seeing a therapist, sometimes they'll be the right fit for you, sometimes they won't. But like just ride it through and keep at it because it does take some time. Like no matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah. So yeah, when I before I got on medication in 2016, when I was like going through a pretty bad bout of depression, the divorce, dad died, dog died, big lonely house all by myself, and I was feeling down. One of my friends that I talked to at that time was like, don't let them put meds in you. And he said his sister took Prozac and killed herself. And he said that she never was suicidal until she started taking the Prozac and drinking. And Prozac is known for being something you don't drink on. With the Wellbutrin and the Lexapro, I specifically asked the doctor, now, is this something I know I've heard you're not supposed to drink on antidepressants? And he said, you should be fine. So it depends on exactly like which. I mean, he asked how much I drink, and said you should be fine. Normal amount, like on that. Like, so they're all different. They're all different, and so a lot of people will tell me that they tried something and it just didn't work for them. But that's kind of like saying you tried candy and so it didn't work for you. There's like so many different kinds, so many different strengths. So many different ingestion schedules that might time up perfect with your brain chemistry, which could be something that's temporary. It could be something that's more long-term. Either way, it could be helpful for you if you get just the right thing that your brain needs. And it could take a little work. You could be trying the wrong stuff, the wrong strength, or taking it too often or not enough. But they call it experience because it takes a bit, the more experience, the better. And, we get experience in life from two ways. We get experience firsthand from experiencing it. And also we can learn from other people's experience. But with something like this, just because someone else says it's not a good idea, take that into consideration, but don't let that be the only fact you consider, because it really might be a good idea. And it might not be a good idea for them.
Right. Yeah. It really depends on the person and their circumstances too. They had a bad experience, obviously, and somebody else like had a good experience and things like that. Where it's like, and you said this too when you were doing the RVDology the other week, was like you kind of mentioned that it takes a couple weeks for the meds to actually kind of work and get in your system, get in your blood. And so that's something you have to kind of be cognizant too. If you're relatively new to meds, to be like, all right, I'm not feeling anything. Well, it takes a little bit of time to kind of accustom, and then your body gets used to it once you start taking it more on that. And then even after that, they usually start you on a small dosage, so you might not necessarily feel anything. So when you follow up, you can get the dosage upped or adjusted to how you need it. So
yeah, it's not something that you just take one time and then you get high or right, stoned or numb or anything off of it. It's something that takes a couple of weeks of dosing to build up a level in your system to where it's effective. And so it's really important to get a good doctor. And that's something too. Unfortunately, you might even have a doctor that's not the best doctor, that doesn't give you the best advice. And of course, going to a second doctor is a really big step. Like out of most people that will go and take the step to actually talk to somebody, once they do that, a lot of them aren't going to go ahead and say, well, I'm going to go ahead and go through all that again and find somebody completely different just to see if what I heard first, nah, I'm good. They told me this. And I get that. It's always easier to do nothing. But man, sometimes it's worth it because like with, with I guess it's I think it's the psychologist that talks to you and the psychiatrist that prescribes the drugs. I could have that backwards.
I think it's backwards.
Yeah, but I've had the person you talk to, the psychiatrist, I've had one that was really good, and I've had one that was like useless.
Unfortunately,
yeah, but same thing with chiropractors. I've had some that were amazing. They could feel my body and tell me where I'm hurting, and then there's other ones, where they're really not doing anything for me, and a lot of the people that they see, they either do nothing for them, or sometimes people get hurt going to the chiropractor, and then they're never going to be down for trying it again. But in fact, there are some good ones, just like everything. And I feel it's definitely the same way with the meds and with the people behind them that prescribe the meds and talk to you, all of it.
It is. And yeah, guys, always feel free to chime in with that kind of stuff. It's always good to hear, and give us updates if you need updates or support. It's a good system we have here. We already have a pretty good community growing in the chats. It seems some regulars are showing up, and everybody's very supportive, it seems, of one another. So Rob's got great insight on this stuff. So
I think mental health is something, I'll try to make an effort to talk a lot about more, because it's something that's such an internal experience that it's hard to imagine that other people have it too, because it's so inside you. But in fact, we all have these internal thoughts, whether they're unnecessary nervousness about how people are going to perceive us in any circumstance, whether you're going on a date or maybe you're going to a meeting, maybe you're going to meet some people, family of whatever, there's a lot of times where no matter who you are inside, sometimes you ask yourself some questions, about, is this the right thing to say? Is this the right thing to do? The right thing to wear? The right thing to whatever? All of that, I think, if you know that all of us, have at least questions in mind, and you can realize that's part of just being human, then I think you can see that that's all a path to greater discomfort within one's own secure choices, which eventually can lead to mental health. So it's something that we're all connected to, even though you don't see it. None of us have the manual of life and just go through changing the book like, did that right, did that right. Hell yeah, I know that, I know I'm betting on the right numbers on the lottery tomorrow. Nobody does that for sure. So again, it's experience, and we're all experiencing life. So sometimes you need a little hand. I'm glad that talking about that can help people reach out and get a hand when they need it, because fucking A, man, there's no reason not to.
Absolutely not. And guys, yeah, you can check that RVDology out specifically too. We have it clipped up on Rob's YouTube, so check it out. It's up at rvdpod.com there, and we have the full video there. It's really, really good. I think it was our best episode we did, actually. That was a great reason for it too.